Justin Baldoni's character and Blake Lively's character are slow dancing, and this was part of the courting process of the two characters in the movie.
I'm both a fan of Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, okay, from the beginning of their career.
Blake said there was a scene they filmed in which she felt sexually harassed.
See what happened to the lawsuit, right? When the original complaint came out, we saw Blake's side of this.
Right.
Which painted one picture.
The continuous legal dispute between Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, and Justin Baldoni has taken a dramatic turn, and it looks that the strain is finally getting to Blake and Ryan. As Baldoni builds up big legal wins, Blake and Ryan seem to be in full panic mode, scrambling to recover their reputations and employment. From HR complaints rejected as junk to public pressure campaigns and awkward public appearances, things are not looking good for Hollywood's golden couple.
You were a little bit skeptical. Then, when Blake dropped her suit, she had so many specific, detailed complaints of sexual harassment that occurred on set. So we obviously believe her, and we read it.
And coupled with all the
Yes.
super cringy, like a self-grandizing content.
Yeah.
I think that helped a lot.
It did. It did. And
which is
now,
ironically what happened to Blake the first time when all these interviews of her being rude came out and you're like, oh, I believe it.
Exactly.
So we have to be careful.
We do.
Personally, I've been right, and I think will continue to be right. Okay. I'm going to watch this with an open mind, though.
With the case rolling, Baldoni's successes are threatening to overwhelm Blake and Ryan's methodically prepared defense plan. This extended legal fight has left fans and industry insiders buzzing with supposition about precisely how much more harm the couple's careers can sustain. As Hollywood appeared to be turning its back on them, the stakes have never been higher. The mounting tension looks unending, with each new finding severely damaging their job and personal lives. Observers are now speculating if Blake and Ryan will be able to recover from these public ramifications, or if the harm is simply too deep to fix. Meanwhile, Baldoni's growing momentum continues to cast a shadow over their efforts, making it increasingly difficult for the pair to recover control of the narrative. With every move they make under immense scrutiny, the couple tackles an uphill fight not merely to rebuild their reputations, but also to prove that they still have what it takes to flourish in an unforgiving profession. Will they find a way to persevere, or will this herald the beginning of the end for their once promising careers?
Plaintiff Blake Lively brings this lawsuit because she was unlawfully retaliated against for coming forward and reporting sexual harassment that occurred against her and others. And others is an important thing there. We know there were those HR complaints that just got leaked, but they seem very fake. On the set of It Ends With Us, defendant Wayfair Studios is the owner of the film. Justin Baldoni is the co-chairman. We all know this stuff, so I'm going to skim over this a little bit. Okay. For years prior to the release of the film, Mr. Baldoni portrayed himself as a leader of the male feminist movement, writing books, hosting podcasts, and holding TED Talks on the topic.
Blake Lively's newest move to register a fresh HR complaint was promptly disregarded by fans and critics alike, with many calling it an evident attempt to deflect spotlight away from the devastating claims and Baldoni's rising momentum. Instead of creating compassion, Blake's tactics have further bolstered the image that she's clutching at straws to ruin Baldoni. This new development has many debating if Blake's legal technique is helping her case or making things worse.
Justin Baldoni's character and Blake Lively's character are slow dancing, and this was part of the courting process of the two characters in the movie. And she, in her original complaint, said that he was often breaking character, and it was him who was there in that scene as Justin, not as his character Ryle, and that he was often doing things that were not part of the story or part of the script and making her uncomfortable by getting a little too intimate as himself. So now let's look at the leaked footage to see what the behaviors actually suggest. Oh, and for regular viewers of the channel, stick around till the end of the video because I have a really important announcement. But for right now, let's take it from the top.
Like a couple cues of like they score. Just so everyone else around us is having a moment.
But is it as rambunctious as it was earlier on?
No, it's never going to be because we're in slow.
This is her talking as Blake, right? This is Blake giving Justin suggestions. She can't reasonably expect him to respond as Ryle, but then to be fair to her and see it from her angle, her insisting that they talk more could be her way of saying, I'm not as comfortable with intimacy in this moment. I'd rather this scene be, or at least I thought this scene was going to be more about talking and dancing. So we could see that, especially when at some point she spins and starts engaging with one of the extras. And this is something that I always look for when I'm trying to gauge stress or nervousness. And we see this in poker games a lot, or in all kinds of games of deception.
I'm both a fan of Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, okay, from the beginning of their career. And I found this entire lawsuit very, very interesting. And I'm learning about PR, I'm learning about filmmaking, I'm learning about so many different things. And it's a very interesting type of drama and pop culture that is helping us to expose a lot of things, right? Now, we are going to be breaking down the HR complaints, and there's 3 of them. Now, because, like I said, they have been redacted, complainant is clearly traumatized. In her verbal account of incident, director Justin Baldoni approached complainant and asked her to speak privately. He asked complainant if she has ever had an orgasm on camera. She asked why this is necessary to know. This is Isabella Ferreira, by the way. So this is Isabella Ferreira. That's what I've concluded anyway. She asks why this is necessary to know since a climax is not scripted in the scene. Baldoni then leans close to complainant's face and whispered, "I think we should go ahead and add it in. Show me what you got." End quote. Complainant did not feel she had the authority to decline. Complainant told Baldoni she did not want to do the scene.
Blake Lively's newest move to register a fresh HR complaint was promptly disregarded by fans and critics alike, with many calling it an evident attempt to deflect spotlight away from the devastating claims and Baldoni's rising momentum. Instead of creating compassion, Blake's tactics have further bolstered the image that she's clutching at straws to ruin Baldoni. This new development has many. In a stupid attempt to lighten the situation, Ryan Reynolds cracked a joke about the lawsuit at a recent concert. Known for his acute humor and quick wit, this time, however, the comedy fell totally flat. Instead of reducing tensions, his comment ended up backfiring in the worst imaginable way. Fans and even celebrities were eager to slam him for making light of what many consider a serious legal matter. Many accused him of coming across as arrogant and insensitive, claiming that he was out of touch with the seriousness of the matter. Rather of easing the storm, Ryan's statement only put fuel to the fire, aggravating the rage. This behavior has further alienated those who already thought that Ryan, and maybe even his peers, were disconnected from reality. While comedy may sometimes be a beneficial technique for easing tension, in this scenario, it just underscored how carelessly timed jokes can frequently do more damage than good. Debating if Blake's legal technique is helping her case or making things worse.
Blake said there was a scene they filmed in which she felt sexually harassed. He has that scene, and he included it. We can watch that scene.
Yep. In fact, in Blake's suit, she stated that it was a muted scene, so we didn't have audio of what was taking place. And she says that he said something very specific, which he does. Yes.
Oh,
he
so
was laughed up.
Wow. Dude, you never get this. This is crazy. You get all the details. You go, oh, I've sexualized her in this unaired scene. Here it is with audio. Wow.
The original complaint came out. We saw Blake's side of this.
Right.
Which painted one picture.
Right.
And then we started to see Justin's side over time when he finally filed his suits. The first one was against the New York Times, and then secondly, he filed against Blake and Ryan.
But they were like $250 million suits or something.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that ridiculous?
Yeah. I mean, who knows what's going to happen? And there's multiple causes of action, and we'll see who wins on what.
So he's suing the New York Times.
Correct.
For false information or something, right?
Yeah.
What is he suing them for?
So defamation, false light, which is very similar. I also think that there was a promissory fraud in there as well, because if you look at the facts, I don't know if I'm putting that to sleep.
No. Honestly, I love all this stuff. It's oddly mirroring the Drake lawsuit. What's promising?
He's suing everybody too.
And then they're also suing him or Blake is suing him for sexual harassment and retaliation.
I saw that.
So just to recap, because we jumped right into this, from my interpretation, because I really am just picking scraps from tabloids and news
like
articles
I do
here
in
and
the
there.
trash.
Yeah, just like I do in the neighborhood.
What I'm nosing through the trash.
Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong. I might be wrong. They made this movie together. Okay.
Yes.
Wait, allegedly. What is it? No.
They actually made the movie.
You get carried away with the alleged. They allegedly made this movie. And remember, this isn't financial advice. This is just my opinion. They allegedly did everything.
Wait, but if you do want some financial advice, go buy gold with Roslyn Capital. No, I'm kidding. This gets really
Things took an even more humiliating turn when Blake and Ryan attended the SNL 50 celebration, only to be snubbed by their peers. Reports claim that A-listers publicly questioned their involvement, making the gathering an uncomfortable and alienating experience for the two. This public snubbing has fed accusations that Hollywood is distancing itself from the conflict, leaving Blake and Ryan increasingly isolated in an industry that previously backed them.
Plaintiff Blake Lively brings this action for damages against Wayfarer Studios, Justin Baldoni, etc. We already know that. Introduction. It's a quote. It starts with a quote from Justin Baldoni's podcast. Ooh.
So, give me the context here. Is this like a thing that replaces the original document?
It's like Justin. It's like it adds more to it.
So we're replacing the original document, but we don't know what is from the original and what's new. We just have to read it to figure that out.
Yeah, I mean, I read the first one a long time ago, but I don't want to make people wait too long. So let's read a little bit. Let's see. So this is a quote from Justin Baldoni's podcast. Are you confident enough to listen to the women in your life, to hear their ideas and their solutions? Oh, I can already tell this is such a bitchy thing to. Okay. So far in this document, just in the opener, the attention grabby part of the document, I feel like Blake's lawyer, did his job worth the amount that he was paid. But I still don't believe it because of all the stuff that's come out and because of all the contradictions in Blake's initial complaint versus Justin's. Anyways. Number 5, at his own moment of truth, when forced to confront women he had made uncomfortable on his own set, he trivialized their concerns and failed to take accountability for the effects of his behavior, whether intended or not. And when faced with the predictable consequences of having created a toxic set.
With Baldoni's legal triumphs continue to pile, commentators are increasingly skeptical if Blake has any conceivable route to success in this high-stakes conflict. Multiple attorneys have thrown in on the matter, warning that without deciding for a settlement, Blake would be looking at a terrible defeat in court. This coming potential leaves both Blake and Ryan in an exceedingly uncomfortable predicament, forcing them to confront a tough dilemma. They must now choose between sticking with their present strategy and risking a catastrophic collapse of their careers or negotiating a settlement bargain that may come with severe financial repercussions. The tension is mounting as the stakes get higher, leaving little margin for error. While Blake is determined to fight, experts caution that the chances may not be in their favor. With time running out, the pair must carefully assess their possibilities and choose what genuinely matters, most pride or realities.
A negative story in Daily Mail title is Blake Lively set to be cancelled. Lively's portrayal is categorically false, misleading and devoid of factual basis, yet knowingly endorsed by The Times, which claimed to have reviewed thousands of pages of text messages and emails. The smear campaign hinges on an August 16th text exchange in which Nathan allegedly shared a link to this article with Abel. The text exchange shows Abel responding, "Wow," followed by, "You really outdid yourself with this one," to which Nathan allegedly replied, "That's why you hired me, right? I'm the best." The message constitutes the entirety of the purported evidence underlying the allegations of a smear campaign orchestrated on behalf of Baldoni.
Justin Baldoni earned a big court victory after submitting additional material that reportedly questions Blake's key charges. Some sources claim Blake may have purposefully fabricated critical information surrounding their production on It Ends, with us raising worries about her dependability. With Baldoni gaining momentum, Blake's legal team is trying to recoup, but the harm may have been done.
Blake Lively would have included this in her lawsuit against Justin Baldoni. This would have been part of her complaint. I've read all of the complaints, every word of every lawsuit. This was not included. I mean, just read, people. This reads like really bad fan fiction. Apparently, 3 hours later, Baldoni approached complainant and stated he was sorry they got off on the wrong foot. Complainant stated she replied, "You got off all right, but it had nothing to do with your feet." Dong, dong, dong. What is believed to be Blake Lively's car. Drop that receipt, baby. Drop that receipt. Show us the video. There is no video of this in her car. It didn't happen. That is what my impeccable sources tell me. Then he allegedly belittled Blake Lively, mocking her for dealing with hormones. Come on. I'm not a huge Justin Baldoni fan. I think he is real extra a lot of the times. But do you think he would really publicly mock Blake Lively for being hormonal?
But also on their capacity to adapt, evolve, and earn back the confidence of an angry public. Until then, speculations will continue to circulate, and the spotlight will be firmly fixed on their every step.